As I get older and I definitely start understanding how life gets very busy for all of us. I mean, being an adult is hard, bro. Like, it's not like you a teenager no more where you can have all this extra time and you can train and do all these things on your parents' dollar. You know what I'm saying? We got bills to pay out here, and a lot of us got priorities and things to take care of, especially if you're a family man. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? But there was something that my boxing coach told me a long time ago, my old boxing coach, and it's really been sticking with me ever since. And he always told me that some training is better than none. And I've always remembered that. Even right now, man, like I think about that as I'm sitting here and just kind of reflecting on things, and I think a lot of us make excuses out there for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm busy, and oh, I don't got time, and this and that. I was able to make a home gym with less than like under $100. You can go to open mats. Like, there's all these different ways to get in training when you can. And I honestly believe, like, if you got time, if you only have time for one day a week to train, I still think it's worth it. I still think it's worth it. And there was something that Gordon Ryan said a long time ago. I remember this interview, and that's also stuck with me too, where, he was talking about jujitsu, but I truly believe, like, you can relate this to other martial arts disciplines. You can really, I feel, you can incorporate this into MMA as well. He said, if you're not physically in it, you need to be mentally in it. Like, you need to be mentally checked in it. And, that means, like, the times when people are injured. Like, for example, I know my coach, when my jiu-jitsu coach was injured, and, he was off the mats for a while just to rest up and stuff. He told me, like, he was always thinking about it. Like, he's constantly thinking about stuff in his mind. He's constantly thinking about jiu-jitsu. That's what I mean by being mentally checked in it, bro. Like, if you're not going to be physically training, like, if you don't have enough time to train, I think that thinking about the sequences in your head and thinking about certain things, being mentally there is important. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. You can't just do that. You feel me? Like, there has to be some physical training too. Like, so don't get it twisted when I say this, all right, bro? Like, I know somebody in the comments is gonna take what I say out of context, and be like, oh yeah, bro, you gotta physically train. Like, bro, of course you have to physically put in the time. Like, there's no way around to it. But I'm saying, man, this is for the people. Like, again, if you can only train twice a week, 3 times a week, the rest of the time, like, I would for sure be thinking about it for the rest of the week. You feel me? Like, if I'm only doing jujitsu twice a week, I'm thinking about jujitsu for the rest of the week until I can't wait till, like, I roll again. And then I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to try this, and that. Martial arts, learning how to fight, this is one of those few things that you can take anywhere you go, bro. Like, you can literally take your fighting skills anywhere and everywhere you go. That is one of the craziest, empowering things about this kind of hobby, bro. Like, whether you doing it for a hobby, whether you training to compete, whether you average dad who's trying to get rid of that dad bod, you feel me? Like, whoever you are, man, everybody can benefit from learning self-defense. We back inside. I believe martial arts is the ultimate hobby. And it's just that sense of security, too, that I feel when you... Now, before I go into this part of it, I know there's always going to be some jerk-offs that's going to be like, oh, yeah, well, all that MMA is not going to... all that MMA is not gonna, like, it's not gonna protect you from a bullet. It's not gonna, you can't defend yourself from a knife and blah blah blah. Bro, I know that, okay. I know that, but can we just leave that out of the way for a second and just think of the fact that some of y'all are just so insecure that that's the point that you gotta bring up. And it's like you act like fighters can't own guns. You act like fighters can't have knives. Like, make that shit make sense. Feel me? Anyways, man. It's just like, to me personally, there's just a sense of security that just feels nice, man. Like it feels good to like not even have to wonder if you can fight or like, like, oh, if this guy attacks me, like what am I gonna do? Am I gonna freeze up? Am I gonna like, because the truth is like you don't know. When you train, bro, and if something like, I mean, God forbid, bro, anything happens like street fight wise, but I'm gonna tell you something, bro. If you ever been in a street fight, man, I'll tell you something, man. Like all technique, like all that kind of shit that you're thinking about goes out the window when you're in a street fight, man. Your heart is pumping fast. You got that adrenaline going through you. You just, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like it is a whole nother way of thinking. And I think putting yourself in these kind of environments when you're training is putting yourself in stressful situations, getting attacked by like another human being, bro. Like, I mean, I'll tell you straight up, one of the things that took me a while, and I still struggle with to this day, is sometimes like I get that little bit of like nervousness, like that little bit of anxiety before I spar somebody or before I go and roll with somebody, especially somebody like I don't know. Like you're kind of not used to, like it's like diving into the unknown. When you roll with somebody new, you're kind of like, man, like how good is this person? Like what does this person know how to do? This and that. Like a little bit of like, you gotta learn how to control your breathing and stuff. It's better to just train and already have built that, like, like that little bit of muscle memory and shit, or lots of muscle memory if you continue for years, right? But yeah, man, it's this whole foolishness that people be like, oh, I don't need to see that. Like, I mean, I don't need to train. Like, I just see red. Like, I see red. I see red. Like, the fuck you do, bro? You know what I mean? Nah, dude, you don't. You don't. I made this vid a few days ago, but it blows my mind how many fight experts there are on the internet nowadays, that just be sitting on their couch, sitting on the computer, keyboard warriors, you know what I'm saying? Like, very easy to judge and critique somebody when you sitting on the couch, when you in the comfort of your own home typing away. Sometimes like I'm just very busy with life, but dude, I just still remember that to this day, bro, that some training is better than none. And those are my reasons to be creating this channel. You feel me? Like I said this once and I'll say this again, a big part of this channel is for the MMA hobbyist.